You want to? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Pitch Perfect, the capability statement, a resume for your business, being presented by the University of Pittsburgh Small Business Development Center. Our speaker today is Christina Wilcox, and she's a management consultant with the University of Pittsburgh, one of many on the team who work very closely with Riverside. We've been partners in crime for a long time, and she actually, before the pandemic, had an office, or hopefully we'll still have an office in our when we go back to normal or whatever the new normal is, for those who look to work and counsel with her. So, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Christina.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for having me here today. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time and your availability. As Judy mentioned, today our workshop is Pitch Perfect, how to pitch your business like a pro. We're going to discuss your capability statement, what that is used for, the components of a capability statement, and also pitching your business. So your elevator pitch, and we'll go over details with all of that. And so Judy and Adam will be watching the chat. So as Judy mentioned, if you have any questions throughout the program on any of the slides that we're covering, just please feel free to put something in the chat, or if you can unmute, if Judy gives capability for that. And that's how we'll handle any questions. But yes, my name is Christina Wilcox. I am your presenter for today, and I am one of the management consultants with the University of Pittsburgh Small Business Development Center. As Judy mentioned, we do work very closely with the RCI staff, and very grateful for this opportunity to work with them and going forward. So today we'll get into the details of the capability statement. And bear with me one moment here. All right. So what is the purpose of a capability statement? So as you're starting your business, many of you are already operating your business. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you're looking to expand. And that's okay. It's very important to have a capability statement, whichever stage of the process you're at, similar to your business plan. It's just going to help. The business plan is your roadmap to the success of the business, and the capability statement, think of that as your usually a 1 or 2 page resume for the business, as you would have a personal resume when you're applying for a job with a firm. Your business should have its own resume as well. So we're going to go over, as I mentioned, just the details of how do you put a capability statement together? What would you typically use it for? What are the components to it, and what does a capability statement typically look like? So as I mentioned, it's a resume for the business. It's to have clearly written on a page that you can present to any reader, any firm. It's just to convey information that's going to be very important to a particular decision maker. So this is where you can just kind of state all of your qualifications, any of your core competencies. We'll go over the different components in more detail in further slides, but more or less just a way for you to present all of the materials just as you would with a personal resume. So it's a step above just handing somebody your business card. And successful firms, they'll use their capability statement for a number of purposes. So for example, to win a request for proposal. So say there is a company or an organization, and they are looking for the best contractor to possibly fill a role that they're seeking. And so they will ask for a request for a proposal, to where you can then present your capability statement to bid on that job. That would, for example, be, say there was a large hotel, and possibly they are looking for a contractor, maybe for cleaning services, possibly for laundering services, or whatever it may be. And so they will present a request for proposal, to which you can then bid on the job among other candidates. And this is where your capability statement is going to be very important, because you're going to want to list all of your past performances, core competencies, and all the different components that we will go over, so that you can try to win that bid. So that's one purpose. It's also a door opener. So it's, again, just a way for you to put all of your qualifications out there and present that to any reader or any potential job contract. It's going to be a statement of your qualifications. So everything that you have done to prepare yourself to operate your business, any education that you've had, any past performances, jobs that you've completed similar in the industry, any certifications that you have, and just also how a potential business partner could reach out to you. And it also is a way to set you apart from your competitors. A lot of detail regarding your competitors is going to be covered in your actual business plan. But when you're bidding on a job and when you're presenting your capability statement as your one-page door opener, you may not be necessarily handing them your entire business plan. So although you'll go into detail there with your competitors, this is also a way for you to list out your different differentiators, what sets you apart. So it's really important to have all of those key components. So when starting your capability statement and when thinking about what sort of details and information you want to have in there, it's really important that not only you understand your products and services, but you need to convey that to the reader or who you're presenting the statement to so that they understand what your products and services are. So I'm sure some of you, or maybe you have or have not heard of the Golden Circle. So this is actually a concept that was created by a speaker, an inspirational speaker and author, Simon Sinek. And so the purpose of this is to think about why you offer the services that you do. So a lot of times, oftentimes people think, you know, I need to let my consumers know what products or services I sell. And a lot of times business owners will start there. And they sometimes forget to explain how you offer your products and services and why you do. So try to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. A lot of times consumers make purchases based on why. So they want to know why you do what you do. So more or less, what value does your product or service bring? And again, if you're bidding on a job as well, it's important for that firm to understand why they should work with you. So try to think backwards and thinking along the lines of the Golden Circle. Why do you offer your products and services? Why should this person go into business with you? Why should this consumer purchase your products or services? And then how do you offer those? And then working your way to what your products and services are. So it's a little bit different to get used to, but just always keep in mind your consumers. So consumers in general are very visual, and we're attached to emotions. So if a consumer can understand why they need your product and service, it's going to go a lot further than just knowing what it is. So trying to form a link there, to like a connection. So when you're putting all of your information in your capability statement, just try to remember those components there. So what is typically in a capability statement? As I mentioned, it's typically going to be one page, sometimes two if necessary. The most important piece is that you want to have these top 5 categories listed. Further in the presentation, I will share with you just an example of what a capability statement looks like. And then Judy will be sending out a template. It's a Word document that all of you can have to feel free just, you know, as you're developing your statement, if that's helpful. But typically, these are the top 5 categories that you want to have seen on there. It's your core competencies, your past performances, your differentiators, your corporate data, and then your contact information. If you're looking for any government contracting and you're up against several different firms bidding on the same job, these are the top 5 categories that are going to be eye-catching that they're going to be looking for. And we'll go through each of these sections on further slides, but just more or less, just to give you some background, core competencies, that's going to be just basically the makeup of your business, you know, the most important aspects of your business, past performance, more or less, what you've done similar in the industry, your differentiators, as we mentioned prior, you know, what sets you apart, what makes your business unique. And your corporate data, that's going to be any certifications that you have, any codings for the business, any sort of your NAICS code. You would not put your EIN number here. Sometimes that can be confusing. Some business owners think they need to put that on there, but you don't. Put your EIN. Your contact information, that's going to be just a way that the reader can contact you. But we're going to go through each of these sections. It should also be very brief and to the point, and you do want to specifically relate it to the individual agency or industry needs. So for example, most businesses will have more than one capability statement. So it would be really difficult to keep everything on just the one page if you were to list out all of your products, services, past performances, everything that we mentioned. So what I recommend is keeping it related to the particular reader that you're presenting it to. So if you are, let's say, for example, you are a landscaping business and you are bidding on a job that is going to primarily involve retaining walls. So you may have plenty of past experiences and knowledge and qualifications with other components of landscaping. So lawn maintenance, flowers, anything else that you may do. But if you're in particular bidding on a job that's going to consist of retaining walls, then you want to focus your capability statement on that. So you want to make sure that you have your specific core competencies of the business, but keep everything very specific to the particular job. So that's why you may end up, depending on your type of business and what products and services you may end up with 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 statements. Your capability statement, it is a living document. So as I mentioned, similar to the business plan, it's always going to be changing as your business grows, as the industry changes. There may be different needs. You just want to make sure that you're always following up and keeping your capability statement as updated as possible. And savvy business owners do know that each agency is going to have its own mission and focus. So you want to keep that in mind as you're, speaking directly to who you're presenting the statement to. So kind of tying into keeping it specific to that individual agency or the industry need. It's also very important that your document is visually interesting. So I recommend, I've even mentioned to clients before, just actually take your business card and you can actually add that right onto the statement, right at the top, typically in the top right-hand or left-hand corner. You can have your business logo on there, your company's brand. If there's any specific colors that you have on your business card, you can, kind of put that into the statement as well. I would recommend not just having solid, just a plain white background with, it's keep it visually interesting. Like you want to put pictures on there. So if you are, showing a before and after picture, say for example, you are a home interior decorator and you want to show a room prior, and then this is what it looked like after you finished the job. So that gives you some credibility and also shows your past performances. I've seen capability statements where you can put a picture of yourself at your place of business, just keeping it interesting and eye-catching. So it's more than just words on a piece of paper. Another step that I recommend, if it is within your marketing budget, it's really important if you're presenting this in person to have it on some thicker kind of good quality paper, not just some standard paper, because it's going to look more professional that way. And also, it is recommended that you create it in Word. That's going to be the easiest way for you to make any updates and changes. The template Judy is going to email over is a Word document. And it's important that you can easily send it as a PDF file. I do strongly recommend, once you have everything completed, if you are sending it over electronically, to send it as a PDF. So the 5 key elements that we mentioned early on. So we'll start with the core competencies. This is typically the first category that you see on the statement. Typically, you're not going to see full sentences and paragraphs as you would in your business plan. This is going to be more just a couple of short introduction statements, just your company's core competencies related to the industry needs. using keywords. This is where you don't need to list everything that your firm does, but just the core expertise of your firm. And then that's where you can add in the key bulleted points specific to the job that you're bidding on. Typically below that, you're going to have another section for your past performance. That's going to be, of course, with if you're going to list any testimonials or any past performances from other customers, you would of course want to get their permission to add that in there. But just listing who you've done work for before, similar work in the industry, and that's going to be some more credibility for you, just showing that you are prepared and that you have worked in the industry, and just listing off all of your jobs you've done. And then below that is usually your differentiator. So that kind of ties in to the past performances, because this is where you're explaining that, you're aware that there's competitors out there, but these are your differentiators. So this is what makes you different. Typically 1 or 2 just clear statements, just relating to the needs of whoever you're presenting the capability statement to. Just more or less convincing them and showing them why they should pick you over your competitor. It's important because a lot of times business owners will forget this step, and the focus is sometimes on just listing what you do and what you've done prior, but it's very important to list why you're different, because there really is, in every industry, in every business, you're going to have a handful of competitors, whether they're direct or indirect. There's always going to be some sort of competition. So, just convincing somebody why they should choose you. Direct competitors, that's going to be just somebody else that does the exact same business as you, offering the same products or services, same target market. Indirect is going to be more maybe different products or services. However, you're still reaching the same basic target market. So it's still something to think about, that there is still a competitive component there. So just important to remember, explain what makes you unique. The 4th section that's typically looked for is the company data. You can, put in here, again, 1 or 2 just very brief short sentences, no full paragraphs or anything like that, just kind of describing your business. If you want to include your revenue, that's completely up to you, the size of your firm, employees that you have. And this is also where you're going to list any of the specific codes or certifications that you have. So, as we mentioned, your NAICS code, DUNS code, any certifications that you have. You can also include in here if you accept credit for your purchases, and your company website. I have seen on some capability statements, it's also common to actually include the website on there and then with a link, so that way they could click right on there if you're sending that electronically, and then that takes them to your website. So that's something to think about as well. I would recommend and caution though, if you're going to do that, just make sure that your website is, completely ready to go and, live and everything's finalized there. But this is just some typical information that you would want to include there. Did we have any questions to this point before moving on?
No direct questions. Someone did ask about the slides, and I had mentioned that at the beginning. The presentation and the template will be emailed to you, because everyone is in different, it won't be in a Google folder, which you can add it to your own Google folder once you get it. We have a lot of different people in this classes, so hopefully
yeah, and we'll have our contact information for the Pitt SBDC I have on our final slide. So you can feel free, anybody that wants to reach out to us. If you want to work with us one-on-one as well, capability statements are something that we help with. And, we can kind of walk you through the process of that, and or really any other business assistance that you're needed. So we, feel free to email us, call us, and I'll share that information at the end. But yeah, just something to think about there. So
also, Christina, someone was asking, Steve, should certifications be limited to socioeconomic certifications?
So I would include, that's kind of, your personal decision what you want to include, but I would say anything that you have worked towards would be good to add there, because it's just going to show, credibility on your part, steps that you have taken. And that's always good to show, what you've done and what you've put the time and effort towards to better benefit your business. So anything that you want to add there. I've even seen some businesses put different educational courses that they've taken. For example, this class, or if you've taken other sort of business development classes and things like that, you can add that on there as well.
And the other question, I think, which comes up a lot, is how many pages. And we always suggest one, unless you've been in business for a long time. So you really want to focus on your main information, correct, Christina? Just in beginning.
Right. So typically you want to aim for 1 page. 2 pages is okay. I would never go beyond 2 pages though, but 2 is okay only if, like as Judy mentioned, if you've been in business for an extensive number of years and there is, so the particular job that you're bidding on, or, any contract that you're trying to achieve, if all of the information you have on there is 100% pertinent, then it's probably more beneficial to go to the 2nd page, just because, you have a lot of information to share. But if not, that's where you sometimes may want to have more than 1 capability statement. So where each one is focusing on, different components to your business. So I would aim for 1 page, but you definitely don't want to leave out important, pertinent information that the reader should have access to. So if that takes you to the 2nd page, that's okay.
And most of our businesses that do have a 2nd page, it is a front and back. It's a 2-sided document, not like 2 pages per se, which, if it has to be, it looks more professional when it's printed front and back. Also, someone asked a question about, certifications. You don't necessarily have to add your certification numbers, depending on how much information you have on your capability statement, but you do want to list your business certifications, with the correct. So for example, like anyone that's a Section 3, they would be considered a certified Section 3 business concern. Or if you're Pennsylvania Unified Certification Program, you would be PA, UCP, DVE. So depending on how much space or what other things you're listing. And then you want to remember that your certifications, business certifications, are in a separate category from what Christina was mentioning, like if you're a certified electrician or certified in food service, those would be set apart in different categories. Other questions?
All right. Well, if there's any questions after the fact, like I said, you can reach out to Judy or myself, at any time. So, we'll share that contact information with you. But moving on to the 5th component, this is your contact information. Very important to have this on here and to have it updated. So sometimes, and that's why, you always want to be following up and just making sure, maybe your business phone number has changed, email has changed, whatever the case may be, you just want to make sure that anything that you're putting on there is the most up to date. Also, very important to make sure that you're separating your business from personal and, keeping all of the business information on there. Typically the contact information is seen towards the bottom. So, a reader is looking through the different parts of your capability statement and then they work their way from top to bottom. And usually I've seen this as just kind of a bar across the bottom, but you want to make sure that the font is large enough. And also, if you're putting colors on your capability statement to kind of make it more visually pleasing, just making sure that the background is not too dark and it's, you don't want it to be difficult, because I have seen that before where it's, maybe a dark gray background and then maybe some navy blue or whatever, color font. And sometimes it's hard to see. So if you're going to have a darker background, maybe use some lighter font colors with that, but just so that there's a way that they can contact you. And this is also a good section where if you want to put any testimonials, any listing of any awards your firm may have won, notable accomplishments, this is extra and optional. Again, if this is going to take you beyond the 1 or 2 pages, you may want to save that just for a general conversation with the person that you're looking to do business with. But if you can fit it on there, it's okay to add some of those as well, just as you would on a personal resume. So just keeping that in mind. So, and just some helpful hints that we mentioned earlier. So, it is important to show your company's logo, any branding elements. You don't want to have the long, lengthy paragraphs. This should really just be an eye-catching key points, bulleted points, just real quick, short sentences in each section. Again, just very eye-catching. And it's good to have a general capability statement, but as I mentioned before, it is really important to have specific capability statements depending on who you're presenting it to. Creating a new document for each agency or industry, just as we mentioned above, just keeping it specific for that particular need. And, as we've also mentioned, just the typically 1 page, but go to 2 if necessary. So just some things to keep in mind there. And I'm going to, in a few slides here, show you, what this is generally going to look like. So before we get to that though, developing an elevator pitch. So the reason why I've included this in the presentation is because when you're going to present your capability statement to someone, typically you are in hopes that there's going to be a longer discussion, maybe interview, something that you're really going to be asking for more time with this firm or business partner to possibly go into business with you. Or pick you, among the others that are bidding for the same job. So it's really important. The elevator pitch is not going to be part of the capability statement. It's not going to be anything written on there, but this is going to be more or less your pitch for your business. So when you are having a conversation with a potential contract, you can, confidently explain who you are, what your business offers, and it helps you to, your business, that, whoever you're bidding on the job with, that you will be valuable to them, but you need to make them understand that. And so, you want to grab the attention with a really good introduction, identifying who your target market is and how you'll serve the target market, just embracing the competition that you have, and choosing your call to action. So an elevator pitch is typically, it's going to be about 30 to 60 seconds, and try to think of it as you are in an elevator with a potential contract firm that you're looking to go into business with, and you just have that brief 30 seconds, just enough time to ride 1 floor up on an elevator, just to explain to them, what your business is, why you're the best pick, and allowing them, asking them for more time to sit down and really go over some details with you. So you really want to make sure that you're covering everything that's important, because this could be your one and only chance to really get your name out there. And if you've not really developed an elevator pitch before, it could be a little bit confusing to know, what do I include in there? What should I typically say? So I have a template here. This is, it doesn't have to be this exact wording, but this is just a good example of if you are in a situation where you have that one chance networking opportunity to really, make a good name for your company and really try to win over your competition. This is just what, an example of what you'd want to say. So a good introduction, lots of eye contact. Obviously right now things are a little bit different and we're not really doing much in person. So the typical, confident handshake is not going to happen right now, but, just being confident, eye contact, introducing who you are, who your company is, what product or service you offer, who you're offering it to, and what value you're bringing. In addition, tying in the competition, what makes you different, and any recent milestones. So, for example, okay, so let's just say you are a smoothie shop. You're looking to open a food truck for smoothies and maybe yogurt products. Okay, so you could say, my name is Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, and I'm the founder of ABC Yogurt, and I'm just making this up, but ABC Yogurt and Smoothie Company. So we offer fresh and organic smoothies and milkshake products and yogurts to anybody who is health conscious, any health conscious consumers on the go, and just to offer anybody a tasty treat that's a healthier option. Unlike some of the other smoothie and yogurt companies out there, our products are homegrown, completely organic, and we've recently done so well that we've opened a second food truck. And so our business is growing, and we invite you to stop by and try a healthy yogurt or smoothie treat. And we'd really like to have some more time to show you what we can do. So that's just a brief example there. So kind of tying all of that in. So you really want to just in that 30 to 60 seconds, be able to cover all of that type of information. I always recommend anybody that I'm working with on here, just practice at home in front of the mirror. It sounds a little silly, but time yourself and just rehearse, because when you're actually presenting this to somebody, you don't want it to sound like you're reading a script, because it's not going to be something written that you're going to hand to them. It's going to be, your own thoughts. And it might be your one opportunity, like I said, for you to really win over any of your competition. So that's something that we can help you with as well. If you did want to work one-on-one with one of our consultants at the Pitt SBDC, we help with elevator pitches, business plans, capability statements, like I mentioned. So, if you're looking for a little more extensive help on there, please feel free to reach out to us. This is an example. This is what you will get. It looks a little small. It's not as well read on the slide here, but this is what Judy is going to email over to everyone. So you'll have your own copy in a Word document, so you can actually fill your own information in there if you would like. But this is just a good example. So as you can see, it says capability statement at the top. Typically to the top right is where you would put your logo, your business card if you wanted to attach that. And then going down each section over to the left, that's where you're going to have those different 5 categories that we talked about. So starting with the core competencies, there's some tips on there just explaining, the short intro statements relating to your core competencies. And then as you can see, just listing off those bulleted key points there. Following that is your differentiators section that we talked about. And you're going to just kind of list off there what makes you different, what makes you unique. Your past performances, that's listing any similar work you have done. And that's also a good place, like if you are going to have a before and after picture, I would recommend that open space to the far right on the bottom. You can even put, if you have a painting company or home decorating company, and you want to show the room before and then after, just to show your work and the quality of it, that's also recommended. That's a good place to put that. And then to the top right below your logo, that's where it's oftentimes seeing the company data. So that's where you're going to list any of those codes, certifications, anything like that we mentioned. And then as you can see across the bottom, that's where the contact information is typically going to be seen, with your address, phone number, website, or any other way for you to be reached. And then just, as I mentioned, keeping that updated. So this is just one example. I wanted to include this as well because since you'll be adding the NAICS code, and many businesses will have more than one, you may have 2 or 3 or even 4 NAICS codes, depending on your industry classification. If you are unsure what your NAICS codes are, you can visit this site, and there is a search where you can see to the far left, it's the NAICS search. You would put in keywords about your products or services, what industry you're in, and then it will have a listing of all the different NAICS codes. And so that's how you can determine which yours are. So if you have one or several, you will have one, but if you have more than one, this is where you could find that to list that on your capability statement. Wanted to mention the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh as well. If you don't have a Carnegie Library card, I strongly recommend getting one. There are so many resources that they offer. I do have their website listed here. But just as you're developing your business plans, again, whether you're just starting out or looking to expand and grow, whatever the case may be, all the more research you can do, the better. And as you're developing your capability statement and you're looking for maybe some information about your competitors, just the industry overall as a whole, this is a really great place where they can help you, the entrepreneurial librarian, to kind of go through different databases and give you resources to find some of that information. We can help you with that at Pitt as well, with some market research, industry profile reports, anything like that that you otherwise would not have access to if you did not have a Carnegie Library card. So just something to keep in mind as you're developing your plans. And another good website, the census.gov for the Census Bureau. This is really important when just looking at just your target market demographics, the area that you're going to operate the business in. A lot of good, helpful information on this website. So, you know, again, as you're putting your statement together, when you're putting your business plan together and everything, pulling everything together, it's good to have some data and some statistics here. So if you haven't done so, you know, you could visit the census.gov and get some of that information. And just some other research resources that I wanted to add in here, A2D databases, Reference USA, Dun and Bradstreet. So depending on the industry information that you're looking for, since you will need, you know, to be doing some of this research as you're putting your information together, it's just helpful to know, you know, where do you go to find some of this. So if you haven't visited any of these, just some good recommendations. And so that is everything that I have covering the capability statement. And like I said, I'm with the University of Pittsburgh Small Business Development Center. Please, if you need additional help with your capability statement, the DBRC and RCI, you can reach out to them or you can reach out to us directly and we can have a business consultant work with you one-on-one. Our number listed there, the 412-648-1542. We are, although working remote, we are still accepting calls there. So if you're interested, you can also email us at sbdc@innovation.pitt.edu. I don't have my email on here. I think Judy was going to put that in the chat, but I can let you know if you wanted to contact me directly. It is cwilcox, WILCOX, @innovation.pitt.edu.
And I did put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Judy. And then I encourage all of you as well, visit our website, theentrepreneur.pitt.edu. We have a lot of really good resources on there, just different resources and business development tips and financial tips and just really anything as you're looking to expand and develop your business. I encourage you to visit that. And so again, any questions, any one-on-one needed with your capability statement, please feel free to reach out to us. But I think we have plenty of time for questions. If I can go back to any previous slides, if anybody wanted to take another look or, you know, any questions anybody may have.
Thanks, Christine. This is great. And this would be a great time to ask any specific questions. And just a couple things I wanted to mention that if you are not a member of the DBRC, Diversity Business Resource Center, and you joined this event, I strongly encourage you to go to our website and become a member. And that entitles you to a lot of information. And I think there are quite a few here that I am familiar with, and some names I know between our BizFit training classes that are currently in session. Also, you can use, you know, show of hands, how many actually have a capability statement already or have started one? Okay, I see a few hands going up, or you can put it in the chat. That's great. And I'm hoping that from, you know, this overview that this gave you some additional ideas when we talk about NAICS codes, certifications, business certifications, your personal, you know, or trade association certifications, things like that as well. That's important. Hey, Christina, if you want to quit sharing your screen a minute, and that way I can see everyone.
Sure.
One of the things I just wanted to, because there were some things come up in the chat, and that way you'll be able to see it too. Where we strongly encourage a capability statement, and that's something that we have been using to share because we get a lot of inquiries for different services or products, or specific businesses. And we just like to be able to share a capability statement with that prime or that business or that entity. So, if you didn't have one, or if you never had one, or if this was your first time hearing about one, let us know your feelings, or, we wanted to kind of make this interactive too. So anyone else have questions? Some people I do see on screen. Good to see your faces this morning. Okay, so
Yeah,
I
Judy,
see Diana. Diana, did you want to speak? I think you wrote something in the chat. Okay, everyone's more or less using the chat. So someone said, Cheryl said this is her first time hearing about a capability statement. Great, Cheryl. Hopefully we can get you one started. Besides Christina, Autumn, and many of you are familiar with Autumn in our office, she also will do a review. And like I said, between her and Christina, we will definitely get you on the path to generating your capability statement. And as Christina said, just like you had resumes for jobs, there are some people that have more than one capability statement, and that's something to keep in mind depending on, what type of project or job or, business opportunity that you're seeking.
Judy, we completed our statement and had it reviewed, met with Autumn.
Okay.
So ours is complete if you need a copy. I think she might have.
Great. So the idea is what we say is once, you have one completed, or if you like one reviewed, reach out to Christina or Autumn. And then what it is we're coordinating a file, of capability statements. So when someone reaches out to us, we can give them the capability statement. And that's usually how it starts a lot of times when an organization or entity asks you for qualifications, when they're not ready, for an RFP yet, but they just want to know what your background and information and experience is. And one of the other things that Christina brought up that's important is if you have not yet met with Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, or you don't have a library card, I highly suggest, that you do a one-on-one, because they have been so instrumental and important with helping a lot of our businesses collect, information for their business plan and demographics, and find out who your competition is. And I could just go on. And many of you may have participated in one of our BizFit sessions where we have Carnegie Library. They're a regular part of our training program. But if you did not make a one-on-one, from that class, or if you have never, reached out to them for assistance, please do. Right, Christina? They're a great resource.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so many just research materials out there that you may not be aware of that they can point you in the right direction, help you with especially competitive research. Sometimes that's hard to find. So I strongly encourage that.
It's free.
It is, exactly.
Free. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize, and they have access to databases for research, graphics, everything. So, and like Christina said, if you look at the example of the capability statement, you're looking at your logo, your website, whatever you have at the time. And as your business grows and, your capacity builds, you will update your capability statement as well. So someone who maybe is not currently certified, when you do, then you would add that to it. Or if you're in a training class, things like that, you want to definitely add. So are there any other questions? Hopefully people will reach out to Christina. I did put her direct email in the chat. I see some other things in the chat. Let me see. I might be missing something. Yes, feel free to unmute and speak up if I did. Yes, so someone asked about if you're bonded. Yes, you should put that you are bonded. You don't necessarily have to put your amount, but that will definitely get a prime's attention. Any other questions?
Hi,
You know, the
Judy.
schedule's
Steve
for an
here.
hour and a half, just allowing for questions and so forth. So, you know, if not, we will get off early. Tamika, did you have a question or you were? No?
Hi, Judy. Steve here.
Steve? Okay, go ahead.
Does Riverside or Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, have like a central repository where we can all post our capability statements for government organizations to research what vendors are available out there and what services they have available?
Christina's.
So just within the University of Pittsburgh, I am not aware of that. I can certainly look into that though and let you know. I am not aware of a particular place to post those. Yeah, let me look into that for you.
What I
Right.
can suggest, Steve, is that a lot, we have some things in the works where like capability statements will be attached when we finish with Invest in Us Pittsburgh and Diversify Pittsburgh. These are databases that we're looking to, you know, add information like that. But some of the sites where you can register for business opportunities, like things that you're interested in, they do allow for attachment of information. So like the City of Pittsburgh, Beacon is their site where you see opportunities. For the state and the Department of General Services, eMarketplace is where they list a lot of their opportunities. Some of our entities, local entities, you know, you can sign up on their websites to be a vendor and share your information. Like, for example, the Housing Authority for the City of Pittsburgh, you know, you have to go to their website. Unfortunately, there's a lot of, you know, different websites out there. Allegheny County, what's the name of it? I'm trying to think. Purchase. Oh gosh, the name's not coming to me. There's different, so many, and I don't know if we've, you know, talked about that in depth, but there are a lot of websites that you can access and databases that you can go to and register and attach information and then receive, you know, updates or opportunities that only interest you or the services or products that you offer. But right now, you know, unfortunately, everyone's like, oh, there's all these different certifications, there's all these different databases. And that's something we're looking to figure out how we can bring, you know, people more under one umbrella.
Okay,
So
thank you.
be patient. Sure. Anyone else? Well, if not, we're not going to keep you on here. It's going on 11 a.m. and I'm sure everyone has a full day ahead of them. We also will be repeating this session at 6 o'clock, and we have another whole group of new people and different people. And sure, you're welcome to come back if you don't have anything else to do. No, I'm kidding. But I will make sure that everyone gets this presentation and the template. And like I said, we just encourage you to reach out to Christina and Autumn. And then once you do, we will make sure that we keep your capability statement on file. And we do look at everything, punctuation, you know, usage, things like that. And sometimes, you know, it's always good to have a second eye because when we proofread things ourselves, we read into it. So Christina's eye and Autumn's eye will definitely come in handy. And Christina, we thank you as always, and we are thankful for our partnership with Pitt. And hopefully everyone's saying thank you, Christina, and this was enlightening. I'm glad to hear that. And we look forward to getting those capability statements in. Okay? All right. Well, thank you,
Judy. Thank you, everyone. I think we're going to get some more sunshine today, so hopefully you can enjoy it. Get some warm up, get the snow out of here, no more icicles. They were vicious this year, so.
Yeah, get that natural, vitamin D. Yeah.
I think we all need that, yeah. So thanks for everybody's time and attention. And Judy, as always, it's a pleasure working with you. And yep, as she mentioned, just reach out if anybody has any questions. I'd be happy to take a look at anything you've worked on.
Yes, email directly, and we'll take care of you. Sometimes it takes a little time because we got a lot of things going on. Those of you who are working with us, you know that. But we appreciate your patience, but we also appreciate your commitment, you know, to growing and expanding and making your business better. All right. Have a good day.